Hello everyone, I'm Eszter Vajda and welcome to Hometown Talents and Treasures. We're in downtown Lowell and in this segment we're going to feature the Merrimack Valley Sandbox. Ever thought you have the next big idea for an innovation, a business, or even a nonprofit? Well, the Merrimack Valley Sandbox has helped hundreds of entrepreneurs get their businesses up and going.
The idea of the Merrimack Valley Sandbox actually came from Desh Deshpande and Jayshree Deshpande. So they're the trustees of the Deshpande Foundation, a family foundation based here in the Boston area. So Desh Deshpande is a serial entrepreneur in computer hardware and has been super successful. And him and his wife started up this foundation a number of years ago to support philanthropy and entrepreneurship. So they first started a center at MIT focused on commercializing innovative technology. Then they're originally from southern India in a town or a city called Hubli. In India, a small city has about 1 million people. So they set up what they called a Hubli Sandbox. And the idea of a sandbox is a place where you can experiment, try new ideas, basically play in a sandbox. So what entrepreneurs are doing, always thinking, searching for problems, finding solutions, looking for opportunities.
Taking chances.
Taking chances, exactly. So it's an environment where there's this community where you can support you and it's okay to fail. So say you build something up, you knock it over, and you can build something again. So that's this kind of concept of a sandbox.
What's the application process? And I know you have different programs.
Sure. There's a number of ways that anyone with an idea can connect with us. So we have student programs. So students from high school through college can apply with an idea to the sandbox through either their university, like UMass Lowell, or if they're in a program at, say, Lawrence Community Works, community organization based in Lawrence. They can come up with an idea and apply to the sandbox for a little bit of seed funding to try it out. If you are a member of the community and you have a business idea, a nonprofit idea, you can apply to either a pitch contest, either in Spanish or English, to pitch your idea. Or then you can apply to our accelerator program, which is our big program where it's 3 intensive months, you get matched with mentors, you get access to free co-working space, and you compete for a piece of $30,000. So we run that program twice a year for 3 months, in the winter and in the summer.
Historically, this area, the Lowell, Lawrence area, the big mills, the big factories, obviously they're all gone, manufacturing. Why are small businesses and entrepreneurs the key to boosting the economy?
Well, research has found that actually small and medium-sized companies are our largest employers in the United States. So what we're interested is in all types of entrepreneurship. So our motto is entrepreneurship for all. So any type of business, whether you're going to be the next big company that goes public and takes over, or you're opening up a storefront and you're going to be employing a few people, we see a lot of value in both those kind of businesses. And we hope that we can bring those types of entrepreneurs together because we think they can learn a lot from each other. So you may be a recent immigrant who has a business idea, or you may be an MBA or a PhD who is highly educated and is doing their next thing. So we think that entrepreneurship for all is a really neat idea that brings diversity and helps people strengthen their business ideas as they move forward.
How unique is this program in this country?
We like to think it's very unique. In particular, our recent Spanish language programs with the Spanish pitch contest, we're pretty sure we're the only Spanish language pitch contest in the country. We've had 2 of them already, a 3rd one coming up in May. And we also think this idea of bringing different types of entrepreneurs, the accelerator program I described earlier, they have them all over the country, but a majority of them are for technology companies, so focused on high growth technology companies that are going to scale. They want people who are willing to take equity in them. So of course we have some of those companies that we hope will reach that point, but we also, like I said, have other types of entrepreneurs as well.
You've seen hundreds of people come through here through the accelerator, the pitch program, and other venues. What makes a successful entrepreneur in today's world?
Sure. Well, I think it's a lot of different things, right? When we're looking at entrepreneurs, we really focus on them as a person. Are they passionate? Do they have the grit and the determination to keep going? Are they someone who is open to feedback? A lot of times people come in and they think, I have the best idea in the world. But you don't know, no matter what, you don't know everything. No one knows everything. So you have to be open to knowing that and to be able to take some feedback, think about it. Everyone has assumptions when they're building their business. They imagine who their perfect customer is, and that may not be the case. So when you're starting a business, there's tons of trial and error, going out and testing, getting feedback from not only customers, mentors, fellow entrepreneurs. So we look for someone with passion, they're open to feedback, and someone who is, a lot of determination and is.
Okay, but a lot of people have that.
Sure.
So bring us to the next level. Everyone in here, and I've been here a couple of times,
Yeah.
has passion,
Right.
clearly,
Right.
determined and open. What else?
I think, related to being able to take feedback, it's figuring out how to build the right team, whether it's a team of advisors, your next co-founder, your next employee, because as you move forward on your business, it's pretty rare that you can kind of do it alone, especially if you want to grow your business bigger than yourself. So knowing the right people to bring on board, and then of course the element of having the right business or the right nonprofit. So there has to be a need out there for it. There has to be the opportunity for it. People need to want it. Customers need to want to purchase your product or your service. So you have to know either how to connect with those customers or know that they're out there. So it's definitely the person, and then a little bit about the idea, and building that right team. Desh always says that he would rather have an A team with a B idea than a B team with an A idea. So it's all about the person and the team, and can they execute. So that's what we look for when we're looking for entrepreneurs.
Donati's Sweet Grace Heavenly Cakes. How did you come up with this concept?
Well, it's really strange because it wasn't the most difficult time of my life. I came with this idea, but now I can say, well, this has been really successful. And past few years ago, I have stronger moments, pregnant with a difficult pregnancy. My husband was laid off, and my mother came over and she told me, I know you have problems. Get $30 on my food stamp card. And that moment I was like, hello, this is not enough to buy grocery. I went to the supermarket, I bought my first ingredient to make flan. And I made my first flans, I sold all of them, and from that moment, I started my business.
So from that moment, you started a business, and then how did you come in contact with the Merrimack Valley Sandbox, and how have they helped you in your business?
Okay, I knew about the pitch contest, the first Spanish pitch contest. I was part of that contest when they started. And in that moment, I didn't want anything, but I heard about the accelerator. I applied for it, and I came to the big challenge to be 12 weeks in this space, learning all the new skills, how manage my business, how make phone calls and ask for help. Right now, it's been so successful for me and my business. Well, right now I'm still working from home, but we are looking for a commercial space where we can launch my business. My business idea is more to teach others to become bakers and cake decorators in Spanish, because in our area we don't have any Spanish bakery school.
What was one of the most important lessons that you learned from going through the accelerator?
Never give up. Never give up, keep pushing, and go for it. And always keep focused.
Story to song. taking stories of people and turning them into songs. How did that come about?
It came about because I was recently in a doctoral program studying sustainability education at Prescott College in Arizona. And a member of my cohort who developed this method, Malcolm Brooks, he lives up in Rockport, Maine, was presenting his research and trying to see if he could share this method in front of an audience and write a song on the spot. And I was the sort of unknowing volunteer, unknowing in that I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was life-changing. And I got up and I shared a story, and he and I wrote a song on the spot, which I did not think was possible. And from that moment on, I just felt like, wow, this is just something that I need to learn. And he taught me this method, and we work together now.
Okay, so first of all, what was the story, and how did it change your life? How was it so life-changing?
There's a lot of layers of change, and the story, which I experience a lot with people, seemed like it was very simple. It was about my dad taking me to preschool when I was really little, and the preschool was in this building that was sort of half subterranean, so you'd go down the stairs, but then it was also above ground, and he would leave me, and of course it was really close to my dad, so I'd break into tears. It was very dramatic. And as he was leaving, he would get down there with these little windows right at the level of the ground in the parking lot, and he'd like kneel down and wave through the window, and I'd like, and then he'd keep walking, and he'd come back and he'd wave at the last window multiple times. So I shared this story, and then we wrote this song, and I was so emotional after for hours and then days, and I reflected on it, and realized that there were all these different layers of meaning. One about my relationship with my father and wanting to make him happy, but then so many about just kind of the dynamic that I develop in relationships with lots of different people and wanting to make them happy, and more
so
and
very
more
therapeutic
about it. Yeah, so, and a lot of people, this was the focus of my dissertation research, this method of songwriting and the importance of sort of cultivating your own identity and really thinking about your passion and how you want to leave your impact on the planet and to make it a better place.
People come to you and they have some kind of a story, they have some kind of a life experience, you go back and start writing?
There's so many different ways that I work with people, and part of being in the sandbox was figuring out how to find people in the first place and help them to realize that this product that they've never heard of before might be something that they could really, really love. And so right now people come to me typically because they're looking for a really unique gift that they want to give someone, something that you can't get on a gift registry online, and, something for someone they really care deeply about, and that they also want to have that they can keep sharing. So, like, for example, a gentleman came to me right before Valentine's Day, and he wanted to give a gift to his wife of 14 years. And so he thought this might be a neat thing to try. And he shared a story with me. We did it all online because it was during blizzards, after blizzard. And so over Google Hangout, he shared a story. I typed it all up. I shaped it into what looked like a poem, and I sent it back to him and asked him to just sing through as many of the words as he could and send me recordings. And he did, and he also said that I could never share it with anyone, or he would have to end his life. So you'll never hear it.
What's your business model, and where do you hope to go? So in other words, how do you charge? Do you charge by song or music? And do you plan to take this on a much more national platform?
That was really tricky for me. I don't have a business background, and I'm so passionate about what I do that I'm always like, I'll just do it, even if you can't pay me.
And money will come.
I know, right? But that's where the Sandbox was so helpful, because they helped me figure out, like Janaris was saying, this is how you talk with people and figure out pricing. And even though it's challenging to put a price on art, this takes you time, and think about, okay, how many songs, how many performances, how many songwriting workshops would you need to do in a month, and what would you need to charge in order to do this full time, which is my dream, to do it full time. So in talking with customers, I've figured out pricing that people seem comfortable with, and that could change, right? Because I'm just piloting, beginning this business, but so far, it's attracting people little by little, and hopefully even more.
So what's one of the biggest things that you learned from the Sandbox?
The biggest thing from the Sandbox, I think, was just that this really is, I think, the idea of entrepreneurship for all. A creative idea can be can be a business. I came to them with this abstract idea. I didn't even have confidence in myself. I was sitting there, being interviewed thinking like, I wouldn't even hire me, what am I? But I learned a lot of confidence and that this really is a wonderful, business idea, and that it's moving and it has a social impact, and it's something that can make the world a better place, which for me is what entrepreneurship and sort of my presence on the planet is all about. So I was talking about this customer who wanted to write the song for his wife, and it was such a great experience. He wanted me to play it as a surprise at their dinner reservation at a restaurant in Cambridge, which was just so great because I was, hiding and like tuning my ukulele in the bathroom, waiting for them to come in, and then, going out to, surprise them at the table. And so, just great fodder for writing also. This is the Valentine's song. I was living a bachelor life when I met you. One bed, one plate, one spoon. In a month I knew you were someone I could really love. It might seem cliche to just say that I love you. I cherish you in so many ways, and all I see and feel and hear is you. You and only you. Nothing else in the world exists but you.
Everyone's online, and obviously security is a big thing. Greg, why did you start your business?
Well, I co-founded Merrimack Analysis Group with my friend Todd Kobus after we were deployed together to Afghanistan, and we saw a lot of trouble that we had with soldiers and social media. And when we dealt with that trouble, we found that people really didn't understand the consequences of things they did online. So just a couple quick examples. We had somebody write on the Facebook wall of someone back home, "Hey, can't wait to see you at Reading High School on February 12th. We don't want just anyone to know when we're coming and going from the theater. So that's just one example of something someone did with innocent intentions, but potentially bad consequences. Another case, someone took a picture of something inside of a base and sent it to someone over Twitter, and they thought it was only visible to that person, but really anybody could have seen that, and it actually showed the inside of a entry control point, so something we want to control.
So what are some of the things that you talk to senior citizens, to children, to parents? What's your business model?
Well, the business model is, in some ways I'd say it's like DARE, except we don't talk about drugs, we talk about online safety and identity. So we go to places like PTAs, schools, senior centers, libraries and other civic venues, universities, and we deliver informational seminars, and places are able to pay us out of a program budget.
And what are some of the key things that you think the public should know about online, besides that it never goes away?
There's that issue, of course, and I think, one of the key things we found working a lot with young people and with parents is that we shouldn't buy into the idea that often gets propagated that young people are the masters of technology and that anyone else is sort of just going to, resigns themselves to a life of cluelessness. What we find a lot of times is young people use technology much more than their parents, but that doesn't mean they've mastered it. In fact, they often make some of the biggest mistakes online. So I think the mentality we try to instill in people is that you can educate yourself with certain tools in certain sites we recommend, and you can actually become much savvier than sometimes people think they can.
Where do you think technology is going with online? What are the endless possibilities, I guess?
The way things are headed, there's more and more information being shared all the time, but what we haven't figured out is how to deal with it, how to interpret it. So for instance, people have said, young men have said dumb things since the beginning of time. But what happens now is a lot of times, people say these things that would have just been sort of dismissed as a schoolyard taunt or schoolyard threat. Those things get written online now, and the consequences can be really dire. So someone can end up literally in jail because of something they wrote on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And so eventually I think we're going to figure out how to handle these things without overreacting, but also taking them seriously, but we're not there yet.
What are some of the things that you learned from the Merrimack Sandbox?
The Sandbox helped us refine our business model a lot, and the Sandbox also helped us define our goal in terms of numbers. So during our time in the Sandbox, we had to articulate 3 goals for the summer. one of our goals was based on the number of towns we would reach out to talk about our business. And so it was sort of a systematic day-by-day process of chipping away at the number to get to the goal. But at the end of the summer, we were able to say, wow, we just talked to 180 separate people that we wouldn't have necessarily spoken with without a goal kind of guiding us along the way.
Without that push.
Exactly, yeah. That was great.
Our show. Thanks so much for joining us. And if there's someone or an organization you'd like to see featured on Hometown Talents and Treasures, email me at estherandvajda@gmail.com. Remember, it can be anyone. The important thing is that they selflessly donate their talent and time to help others. See you next time.